Recording.
Good evening and welcome to the March 3rd, 2022 Parks and Recreation Commission regular video meeting. I am Jody McCarthy, Parks and Recreation Commission Chair. In accordance with Proclamation 20-28.10 and the Governor's Extended Safe Start Order, tonight's Parks and Recreation Commission meeting is using video conferencing technology provided by Zoom. The Zoom video of this meeting is being recorded and will broadcast live via Zoom and will be uploaded to the city's YouTube channel later this evening. City staff consultant Emily Moon and King County Library System staff Lisa Rosenblum, Executive Director Angie Miraflor, Deputy Director for Public Services are participating in tonight's meeting remotely. Sorry, I missed the "and" in the middle of that. Other public audience members are listening to the meeting by telephone or via the internet. Welcome to all and thank you for joining us tonight. Commissioners, please turn on your microphones. Will the city staff please call the roll?
Chair McCarthy.
Here.
Vice Chair Struck.
Here.
Commissioner Cohen.
Here.
Commissioner Birkenwald.
Here.
Commissioner Westberg.
Here.
Commissioner Markson.
Present.
Commissioner Burstein.
Here.
Commissioners, before we start the business of tonight's meeting, here are a few rules to help the meeting run smoothly. If a commissioner has a question, please use the raise hand feature. I will do my best to recognize commissioners in the order in which hands are raised. Everyone will be asked to limit themselves to one question and to one clarifying question if necessary, so that each commissioner has a chance to ask a question before a commissioner is given another chance to ask a question. Additionally, prior to speaking, please state your name for those listening in on the meeting. Tonight's agenda will not include in-person public appearances in accordance with Proclamation 20-28.11 and the Governor's Extended Safe Start Order. However, individuals wishing to speak live during the appearances portion of our meeting may do so by telephone or using the Zoom teleconferencing application, provided, however, they registered their desire to speak with the city admin staff by 4 p.m. today. Our city admin staff will call on you by name or telephone number when it is your turn to speak. This is the opportunity for anyone to speak to the Parks and Recreation Commission. All remarks will be addressed to the commission as a whole and not to individual commission members or staff members. If any person makes personal, impertinent, or slanderous remarks, or who becomes boisterous, threatening, or personally abusive while addressing the commission, I may request that the person leave the meeting. When it is your turn to address the commission, please be sure to speak audibly and state your name for the record. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. I will provide you with a 30-second and 15-second warning when your time is about to expire. City staff, is there anyone who has signed up for appearances that wishes to address the commission?
Yes, Chair McCarthy, we have 7 appearances. The first one up is Meg Lippert. Meg, I'm moving you over now.
You see me?
Yes, we can see you.
Great, thank you. Good evening, commissioners. Thank you for your service. My name is Meg Lippert, as was mentioned. The Mercer Island Library has been in the past a community focal point. It is a resource of intellectual, cultural, and social importance to Islanders, and we would like to keep it that way. We're interested to know how it makes sense that Mercer Islanders contributed $6 million every year to KCLS, and yet our library will not be open to serve our community 7 days a week. And in addition, our library is scheduled to be closed on Saturdays when it was on Saturdays, when our library was previously open 7 days a week, that the library saw particularly heavy traffic. If the schedule of community library open days is supposedly based on community needs, then why is the community not consulted regarding its needs? Mercer Islanders support KCLS so that our children can have the benefit of a world-class library system. There should not be a problem with proper management. having the same services as before the pandemic when our library was open 7 days a week. The claim that the union agreement prevents libraries from remaining open both weekend days is not valid. The contract only prevents forcing staff members to work both weekend days while other staff work none, unless, of course, a particular staff member volunteers to work both weekend days for their own personal reasons. In the past, there has always been budget to hire library staff for keeping our library open 7 days a week. And the fact that there is not now budget for this level of staffing for KCLS libraries is because money has been spent on adding to the central office administrative staff, for example, by hiring 2 new deputy directors instead of money being spent on hiring library staff for the branches who will directly serve the library patrons and keep the libraries open for public use. Prioritizing top-heavy administration penalizes communities, taxpayers, families, and most importantly, our children and our grandchildren. The $6 million per year that Mercer Island pays to KCLS is far in excess of the cost of keeping Mercer Island Library open 7 days a week. Based on past discussions of this issue, the actual cost of staffing Mercer Island Library, including 7-day service and the cost of the lending library, is $1.3 million to $2 million per year. It would seem that at least Islanders should get in return for this investment, having our library remain open every day of the week for our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
I will be moving over Ira Appleman.
Are you on mute, Ira?
I'm unmuted. Yes. I unmuted twice. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ira Appleman, Mercer Island. I object to the arbitrary and unilateral decision of KCLS to close our library on Saturdays. And I'm asking this commission, acting as our library board, to fight back and defend our rights. I think you got this extra job because we only really need a library board when we're having trouble with KCLS. Our current library was designed and built by Islanders, with KCLS contracted to provide library services as they had for decades. In 1993, KCLS forced Islanders to either join KCLS system or find someone else to run our library. So in February 1993, Islanders voted to annex into the KCLS system. The annexation was controversial. Former council member Robert Coe wrote in the January 1993 Reporter, quote, "Don't give away our library. With KCLS annexation, Islanders will have nothing to say about the library and its services. The KCLS board has been arbitrary in the past," unquote. KCLS Director Potasic responded with 2 promises. First, he said he would do studies to learn how to meet Mercer Island's needs. In one study, Islanders picked Saturday as the most desired day of the week for the library to be open. Second, Director Potasic admitted that, quote, "accountability and governance have frequently been raised as issues of concern with KCLS," unquote. His answer was a Mercer Island Library Board with 3 council members on it, which then Mayor Elliott Newman agreed would have, quote, "sufficient clout to ensure proper consideration of Islanders' issues," unquote. In 2014, KCLS tried to remodel our library by gutting the inside, contrary to the voted 2004 capital bond issue. Many of us fought back. Eventually, the city council appointed 3 council members to the library board, and our library wasn't gutted, and we got the renovation promised in the 2004 capital bond issue. The loss of the most popular day, Saturday, is a clear violation of KCLS's pledge to work hard to meet Mercer Island's needs. I ask that you begin
30 seconds.
the fight to hold KCLS to its promises. And if that doesn't work, that you take the issue to our city council. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Next, we have Sue Stewart.
Hello, Sue Stewart, Friends of Luther Burbank Park. With regard to this evening's agenda, Friends supports continuing free participation for nonprofit organizations and city events. For example, in the annual Leap for Green event, which we hope will be rescheduled in the near future, Friends has always participated, offering information and a guided birding tour by Audubon master birders during that event. This year, Friends wrote 3 letters in support of park grant submissions, one for the dock replacement, another supporting pickleball, and a third in support of a new and improved trail from the swim beach to the docks. Earlier, we urged the King County sewer line be run under the path south of I-90 rather than through the source and swim beach. The existing pathway south of I-90 was chosen, so while repairing the sewer, the path will get ADA improvements. So Friends has a relationship with the park staff in our commitment to the park and its continued well-being. When there was vandalism in Upper Luther Burbank Park, it was the Friends board members who discovered the damage. Friends was included in emails and Zoom meetings where riders were initially asked to stop their digging. Then ultimately they were told trails would be closed if the illegal digging and building jumps did not stop. Very soon, the issue of a $215,000 built mountain bike facility in Upper Luther Burbank Park will be coming to you. So your perspective on this is critical. Our organization appreciates the Parks Commission's written comments in Agenda Bill 6003, saying Upper Luther Burbank Park may not be the best location for a mountain bike facility. We insist it is not. There may be a better place on the island, but Friends urges the city to fund transportation for riders to get to Duthie Hill. This 120-acre park has 8 miles of supervised trails for all skill levels. Building a mountain bike park in Upper Luther Burbank Park raises many issues for the city: liability, trail use enforcement, supervision, maintenance, and containment. That last is important. Mountain bike riders have a reputation of building trails wherever they want them. A friend of mine in
30 seconds.
A friend of mine in Mountains to Sound Greenway says, if you build a facility in this small 20-acre park, bikers will take over the entire park. The Park Pros plan on page 71 pointed out that golfers go off island to golf courses. Mountain bikers have a great place, Duthie Hill, for them. Friends feels transporting riders to us is a solid idea and a win-win. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Robin Russell.
Hi. Can you see me?
I can see you and hear you.
Okay. It looks like the library executives have left, so I hope that's not the case.
They're still here.
Okay, great. My name is Robin Russell. I'm a 9-year veteran or 9-year resident of Mercer Island. I'm speaking today about the service levels and hours of operation of our Mercer Island Library. Mercer Island residents have a very long history of supporting and fighting for our library, and it is a real tragedy that we are here today begging for hours and service levels that predate the pandemic. Number one, I am very supportive of returning operating days to 7 days a week, just like the Seattle Public Library and others. If this is not possible, which it should be, then request 6 days a week, open both Saturday and Sunday. Number two, the results of a recent poll on Nextdoor has over 244 respondents, and the results show 56% voted that the library be open 7 days a week, with 40% voting for 6 days a week, open both Saturday and Sunday. There are at least 4 Nextdoor posts showing overwhelming support for our library and opening 7 days a week. Our community loves our library and wants to see it managed for the Islanders, not as a slush fund for high-paid executives and new cars. Number three, Mercer Island pays over $6 million to King County Library Services. well over the amount needed to support our library, and even more than we pay for emergency services. Of course, we have been happy to do so as the overage is used to support other libraries. That said, our community would ask that you keep this funding in mind when implementing hours levels. King County Library Services has not been listening to the Mercer Island community, which is shocking given the taxes we pay. I really hope this changes going forward. Lastly, and this is directed to our City Council liaison, please bring back the library board. We have numerous volunteers that have been involved in the library for decades and new residents that are also involved with the library. I find it just bizarre that I am presenting to the Parks Commission about books and service levels. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Moving over, Anthony Hargreaves. There seems to be some
There we go.
technical. There
Can
you
you
are.
guys can you guys see me and hear me?
We can hear you.
Hey, great. Thank you so much. Hello, members of Mercer Island City Council and commissioners, and also the community members of Mercer Island listening. I appreciate this opportunity to speak about the bike skills area at Upper Luther Burbank Park. My name is Anthony Hargraves. I'm a Mercer Island resident for 6 years. I live about 4 blocks from the bike, well, what was the bike park. I share a house with 2 teenage girls, 13 and 15, and I have 2 rowdy boys, 8 and 10. We have and ride BMX bikes, mountain bikes, road bikes, and triathlon bikes. I regularly walk the trails with my coffee mug every morning. I used to bring my kids to ride that skills park area, which has now been demolished. I volunteered with Earth Corp vegetation restoration projects, and I have supported and supplied local kids with bottled water, rakes, and shovels, which used to be kept safe in a lockbox in the school's bike area. My kids have been actively observing and wondering what is going to happen to this space. And more importantly, they've been watching the online banter, the flagrant exaggeration of some of the issues, and more importantly, the inability for a diverse community to come together to resolve this issue. They have learned the word temporary may actually mean permanent. And they have learned that abiding by the rules is rewarded by having a space taken away. Put simply, there are 3 key issues here. The boundaries were expanded, they've now been returned. Hikers accessing the skills park area had concerns about sharing a 40-foot piece of trail with the bikers. There's a simple solution for that of just having an additional 40-foot trail, maybe also just 40 foot to the right, and then the progression and height of the jumps, which I think is going to be returned to just normal heights. There are multiple ways of saving this problem or solving this problem without hurting our children, because that's who's paying for this closure right now. This closure is hurting our kids. They, by not allowing them to play, by not allowing them to enjoy the Mercer Island bike tradition. It's been there since 2006. I think the proposal of transportation off the island is environmentally counterintuitive. I was down actually in the bike area this week, and despite there being no approved plan, there have been plants and shrubs replanted within the boundary line, 3 truckloads of bark laid in the middle. It seems like there is definitely a plan not to restore this park. I simply would like the kids to have their space back. It's been closed now since October last year. It's a long time. It was closed over such a critical time over the COVID time. The kids are wondering, why can't the adults work this out?
30 seconds.
I think what I'd like to ask everyone on the call today is to consider putting some time to restoring what was there, the temporary closure to have the space reopened. And I think the ability for our kids to enjoy a space that has been inherently theirs for such a long time. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your comments.
Rachel Holloway.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, can you see me?
No.
Okay, not quite sure how I get the video to work. Can I just speak?
You can, yep.
Okay, so Rachel Holloway, Island resident. I'm on this call to talk about Snake Hill or Upper Burbank Bike Park. The issues have been raised about the kids using this bike park over the last 2 years, much exaggerated. And we all know that this period of time, the kids went through the most altering society ever experienced since wartime. This was the only place they could go. And this was positive in that it provided the outlet that they needed to connect with each other and be in nature, but also negative due to some small infractions caused by digging of jumps and the larger than normal numbers of kids. It is understood that the proposed bike park is a set course and digging is not allowed. The biking community has formed a mountain bike alliance to help oversee this park and maintain rules should it go forward. The kids, relieved to get their space back, want to be part of the mountain bike alliance, and they will do anything to preserve this space. On a personal note, my kid has used this park for over a decade. It was one of the best things about growing up here for him. He regularly rode over there after school, practiced jumping, saw friends, the gem of being just a kid relaxing in nature. The idea that kids should be shuttled off island for an hour to get this would really prevent many of them using their small window of time after school to relax. In winter, there would be no daylight left by the time they got anywhere. The practicality of shuttling a dozen or so children and bikes would be extremely difficult. I really believe that having an hour outdoors after school for a kid is the best way to have a healthy mind and body. My son has a diagnosis of ADHD. Outdoor exercise helps him enormously, and he's a straight A student. When he doesn't get the time to exercise outside, he gets migraines and can't concentrate. According to his pediatrician, 23% of kids on this island have the same diagnosis. This is much an indictment on modern society that makes things so difficult. Our kids are unable to just get out and have fun. I realize that my kid won't have the chance to enjoy this park as we're moving
30
on.
seconds.
This park would never be a destination for off-islanders. The reason being its footprint is too small and there are many other places in the surrounding cities to which to go. I do remember the campaign to stop the building of the youth theatre in Mercerdale Park, and the city allowed a small group of walkers to steer the planning away from this site. Please don't let this happen again. There's not enough given to the youth on Mercer Island. Parents all over the city.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Ronin Holloway Lamb, moving over.
Hello, my name is Ronin Holloway. I'm a resident on the island and a member of the Mercer Island High School. I've personally used the Mercer Island Bike Park for a decade now. And I would just like to say, all the kids want it back. It's such a good space for teenagers. We don't have enough on the island for recreation. It's such a good space just to relax and use. 415 kids have signed a petition that I put out 5 months ago to go keep the bike park in its current state. And we're just wondering when we can have it back. We will do literally anything to go keep it. We will stop building, we'll stop doing anything. We just want to have a space to go enjoy biking. For us, shuttling to Doofy Hill Mountain Bike Park, it takes half an hour to get over there at least, not including the time that it would take to coordinate putting bikes on a bus and getting driven over. In the winter, like right now, that just straight up wouldn't be enough time for children, because we also have homework in the evenings and we've got to balance our schedule. So I'm requesting that we can please have this bike park back. It would mean so much to so many children, and it would help us so much, even with learning, having a bit of outdoor time each day and being able to have fun on our bikes. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments.
Chair, that was our final appearance.
Thank you. All right, next up on the agenda, we have the department report, and we will welcome Recreation Division Manager Ryan Daly.
Good evening, commissioners. Ryan Daly, your recreation manager. Give me 1 second to share my screen. Let's see here. Chair McCarthy, could you confirm that you can see that?
I can see it.
And it looks wonderful, like
It looks
sunny and
amazing.
flowers and everything. Awesome. Oh, we can't wait for spring to get underway. First of all, congratulations to the commission. We have a pros plan. It's been adopted. On Tuesday night, the council unanimously supported the adoption of the pros plan. In addition to adopting the plan, council appropriated $750,000 to begin on a few identified projects. And these include the athletic field design at Island Crest Park, which you'll recall is the replacement of the north infield turf and also the backstop replacement for the north and south fields. Also, a joint master planning process for Clark and Groveland Beach, and also the MICC Community Center Annex Facility Assessment. So again, congratulations on completion of this great planning process. It was about 2 years long. And let's just commit to waiting about 5 years to doing it again. If we could take a little break, that'd be awesome. But excellent work, and thank you for all the time you committed. The city hosted a virtual public meeting on February 17th. We had 24 community participants discuss the Aubrey Davis Park Trail Safety Improvement Project. It was an engaging conversation. There will be more information posted on the website on the Let's Talk page that's posted below. But also, and as importantly, there's a survey online right now, and it's a follow-up to the virtual meeting. We're gathering feedback on the different trail design ideas. There's 3 of them: the West Mercer Way crossing, the 72nd Avenue underpass trail connection, and then the restroom and playfield area near the ball fields there. The design team has identified a few general ways to enhance the safety on the trail, and these include pavement markings, wayfinding, signage, vegetation management, and a refined mixing zone. You'll recall that the commission spent a great deal of time on this particular topic, and you'll notice that those ways to enhance the safety for trail users were directly from what was recommended by the commission. Listed below is the project page with information on Let's Talk and how to complete that survey. Summer camps. I talked about spring when we kicked this off. Now we're talking summer. We're excited to announce that the summer camp offerings are available. Summer is right around the corner, and we know many of you are probably as excited as I am to get my kids out of the house. We do have a number of great programs that we're going to be running this year, a number of sports programs, biking, theater, Lego, and we're still working on a few more. So last year we worked with a number of organizations to coordinate those programs. We're going to do the same thing this year with adding a few additional. So if you go to the Parks and Recreation website, as it's listed there, you can get a link to the different camp programs that will be offered, and we'll continue to update that link as we move forward. Just giving you a warning, last year, a lot of our camp programs sold out very early, so it's worth taking a look well ahead of time and registering promptly before space runs out. Mercerdale Playground. We are so close so close. We actually just have 2 items, 2 steps away from a grand opening. One is we need to get the resilient rubber surface poured in place, as well as some concrete work. The challenge we have is that we still need 3 days of warm, dry weather to put that surface down, that rubber surface. And then the other challenge is obviously the strike with the concrete workers. And so that strike is lasting maybe longer than we anticipated, but staff is standing by. We're in party planning mode, and we're ready for a ribbon cutting ceremony when we can move forward with that. So please check out the Let's Talk page. Continue to look at it. If you haven't had a chance to go down to the park and check it out, it does look so cool. It's so inviting. I think we're going to need a bigger fence to keep people off of it. It does look great, and we're excited to welcome the community to that playground. Summer celebration. Mark your calendars, July 9th. It's coming back. We are working with a few community organizations and members on multiple events that will take place at Luther Burbank and Mercerdale Park. Just to remind the commission, this is a one-day event. It'll include live music, a merchant walk, food trucks, an art show, and fireworks, of course, at Luther Burbank. We're beginning to work on the sponsorships and fundraising aspects. So keep your calendars open for July 9th, and we'll provide more information on the summer celebration website. Bike skills area. You heard some comments tonight regarding this. The location does remain closed while we are awaiting the final report from the consultant. Staff and volunteers have been working in the area, replanting and regrading. The big question is, what will that report contain? What it will do is it will address the issues at the bike skills area that we encountered, within the previous 2 years, and provide a concept level redesign of that area. It will also include a cost estimate for the construction and improvements. Please note, though, no improvements have been funded. City Council will need to appropriate any funds if that's chosen to move forward. I did clarify with the city manager that this report will be presented to the Parks and Recreation Commission at a future meeting. We're anticipating April. I'll talk a little bit later about what the commission planning schedule looks like, but April is sort of the date we're hoping to have that report to be able to present to the Parks and Recreation Commission. And as we saw tonight, working well, the commission will continue to serve as a forum for the public to provide public testimony regarding that assessment when we receive it. And then the Let's Talk link is there that will include project links and updated FAQs. And I did forward an email to the commission just mentioning what some of those were so that you can see that link and see how it relates to the pros plan as well. Commissioner Cohen, I think I see a hand.
Yes, Don Cohen. This refers to awaiting the final report. So has there been a draft report in addition to the first thing that the consultant did or not?
I'm not aware of a draft report.
Okay, thank you.
So, but we are still waiting that final report. I was given the final report information. I'm not sure if there was draft or not yet. We do have some great news. The King County Parks Capital and Open Space Grant Advisory Committee has recommended Luther Burbank Park Sports Courts for a $193,000 grant award. This would go toward, this project is part of your 6-year CIP with design planned for 2023 and construction in 2024. The initial concept is for 6 pickleball courts and 1 tennis court within the existing footprint. More public input from stakeholders will take place as we get closer to project kickoff. But this is a great first step for this project and a very solid grant award for us as we move forward. Luther Burbank Dock Project. Back in May 2021, The council approved the concept design and requested the Parks and Recreation Commission develop a 30% design and convey that to the city council. On Tuesday night, city council approved the 30% design of the Luther Burbank docks. And council also appropriated the necessary funds to complete the 100% design. So this project is moving forward. There's a nice rendering there of what the look will be, but I would like to invite Vice Chair Struck, as I wasn't available for the council meeting, if he's willing to provide any additional updates or input. I will stop sharing.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. Peter Struck. Just a couple of things. I think you covered it pretty well. First, you passed unanimously, as well as the council members had a number of complimentary things to say about the commission's work, and I think I can speak for all of you. We appreciated that. In terms of the project itself, there was a couple of things that I guess at least I was not aware of that are going to happen. The boiler building, which is obviously right there in the plaza level, which we didn't really discuss, but was previously approved, and that piece of the puzzle is going to be coupled with the overall plaza and waterfront project for really construction efficiency. And that building will get a seismic upgrade and a roof replacement. Let's see if there's anything else. I think, yeah, as Ryan mentioned, the council did approve sufficient funds to take it to the 100% design stage. So we're moving along on that. And Paul West believes that, construction hopefully will cut or break ground, if you will, sometime in 23, and there'll be probably a 2-year construction phase. So hopefully everything will be wrapped up by the end of 24 or somewhere along those lines. But thanks to all the commission members and subcommittee members that were involved in it. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, for stepping in and carrying me on that one. I greatly appreciate it. And again, great work. And thank you, everyone, for your input on that project. Staff will commit to bringing back updates probably monthly as we move forward, just to keep you apprised of the process of that project as it moves forward. With that, I will pass it back to you, Chair McCarthy.
Thank you, Ryan. All right, so the first item of regular business is to review and consider approving the minutes from the February 3rd, 2022 meeting. And I feel like there's some changes that need to be made. Ryan?
Commissioner, or Chair McCarthy, if I could make one update. We did have Commissioner Birkenwald labeled as absent. She arrived later in the meeting, and so that will be altered. So that's a technical change we'll make on our end.
Thank you. Commissioner Cohen?
Yes, Don Cohen. I'd like to suggest I'll make a motion to approve the minutes, but with a revision. The revision would be under the Luther Burbank Park Dock 30% summary. I would suggest that after the sentence that reads, "The commission engaged in discussion," that we insert, "This included," and I provided this to staff in the event it's approved, "This included, among other things, the timing of recommending the 30% design to council prior to resolution of certain issues on which staff would be working with a specialized consultant." So that would be a one-sentence insert after the commission engaged in discussion to try to capture at least the views that I expressed, but then we wound up getting some further information, and the vote ultimately was unanimous.
All right, Vice Chair Struck.
Yes, thank you, Peter Struck. I would support Don's comments. I would add that, or the motion, I would add that in the staff memo that went to the council on Tuesday night, there was verbiage in there that talked about that, there were some outstanding issues that would need to be resolved as they move from the kind of the 30% design concept that we approved to, the 60 or 100% level. So I think there it was noted to the council that there were still issues that needed to be resolved. Thank you.
That's good to know. Thank you, Vice Chair Struck. Commissioner Westberg.
I'm not sure if Commissioner Struck's comments constitute a second of Don's motion, but I hereby second his motion.
All right, so Raven, did you get that noted change and everything? Ryan?
I'll say I do have the change in writing that I'll submit to Raven, and
Okay.
staff also supports this.
Okay, very good. All right, so we have a motion and we have by Commissioner Cohen, and then we have a second possibly by Vice Chair Struck, but definitely by Commissioner Westberg.
I'll yield to Commissioner Westberg.
Thank you. Commissioners, please turn on your microphones. Will the city staff please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes. Chair McCarthy,
Aye.
Vice Chair Struck,
Aye.
Commissioner Cohen,
Aye.
Commissioner Birkenwald,
Aye.
Commissioner Westberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Markson,
Aye.
and Commissioner Burstein.
Aye.
All right, so the motion passes and the minutes are approved. The second item of regular business is the King County Library System Mercer Island Branch Annual Update. And we welcome King County Library System staff, Lisa Rosenblum, Executive Director, and Angie Miraflor, Deputy Director for Public Services. Welcome.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully I will do it right and you will get the thing we need to see.
And Executive Director Rosenblum, if I could just jump in real quick and remind the commission and community members that one of the duties and responsibilities for the Parks and Recreation Commission is to provide a forum for the community to express their views regarding services on Mercer Island and serve as an advisory capacity to the King County Library System. And so it is within the Parks and Recreation purview, and that's why we move forward, and we appreciate KCLS coming in and providing this presentation today. So with that, I will pass it over to you. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here and thank you for inviting us. Angie Miraflor is actually also the division manager for the Mercer Island Library right now. We have an opening that we need to fill. So it's very serendipitous that we're here today. I'm going to go through a slideshow that actually answers some of the questions that we were sent ahead of time, but also we will address ours and we're here when we're at the end of the presentation to answer any questions that the commission may have.
Lisa, this is Ryan. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
It's displaying on my screen as the notes section and not quite the slideshow.
Well, on mine, it's the slideshow. So let's see, stop. Let's see. From the beginning. Is that better?
It might be, do you have multiple screens?
Yeah.
It might be sharing one of your other hidden screens.
All right, let me end it. Sorry about this. I suffer from opening too many screens. So let's try one more time. And Angie, if I don't do it right, do you have a copy of this?
Yeah, I do. Do you want me to just present?
Yeah, why don't you just do that? While she's doing that, let me just start by saying that we are, we're going to show you the different phases that we've gone through. Can you see it right now?
Yep, that looks great.
Okay, Angie, you can go to the next slide now. Thank you, Ange. Okay, let's do a recap of where we are, where the library was, starting with March of 2020 through now. As you know, we had to do a shutdown in March of 15th of 2020. And it's worth a recap to say, because I know there were some questions in the community. Why aren't the libraries open? Why can't you open to in person? We were under the same mandates that the city of Mercer Island was under, and we followed them. So effective March of 2020, we started with our stay home, stay healthy plan. We did not reopen our libraries to any usage until June of 2020, although we did offer a rather robust online services. We had online programming, and of course our digital books were available. So in June of 2020, we started curbside service throughout the district. It was the library district. We ended up with 40 libraries able to offer that curbside service, including at Mercer Island. It was a very popular service, and we were pleased that we were able to do that. But we, of course, were not able to have the full service of in-person, in-building service until July of 2021, when Inslee allowed us to have in-person library services. Next slide, Ange. So this is just a recap of the phases. We did create a phase reopening, and we are currently in phase 4, which is we are gradually returning to a standard business operation. But we're looking at our group study rooms, our indoor programming, and we're going to be providing that in the next couple months when it is safe to do so. So you can see there has been quite a complexity for us. We're open before vaccinations were ready, and I really applaud staff for coming in. We know that our community needed us, and we love serving Mercer Island, and we were there for Mercer Island, and we really appreciate the support that we get from the community. None of us wanted to be closed. I remember when we closed in March of 2020, it was for 2 weeks, and then it was for 6 weeks. And here we are almost 2 years later, trying to get back to a sense of normalcy. Having said that, we're not out of it yet, but we're really excited that effective actually on February 27th, we opened up 18% more of our hours. And let me talk a little bit about those hours. Back in August of 2021, I asked the previous director of public services to create a plan that allowed us to open more, that was aligned with our budget, because we do have to follow our budget year, and that provided services all over the county, 7-day-a-week services all over the county. Now, having done that, we also were faced with, quite honestly, a staffing shortage, in the sense of we did implement controlled hiring during that time. We are very sensitive to the fiscal realities of running a library district with taxpayer money, all taxpayer money. And so during the phases 1 and 2 that you see here, we didn't need the full suite of staff. We didn't lay off staff, but when there were vacancies, we didn't fill them all, because we wanted to make sure that we were not wasting taxpayer dollars and having people there when we really weren't able to offer full services. So like many agencies around, we are gradually hiring people. We've been doing it for the last couple weeks. And so what you're seeing, this is the first phase of adding more hours to all of our libraries across the county. Now, what we did was we tried to offer 7-day-a-week service at all of our regions. Mercer Island is in a region, and it was decided by a staff-led committee that we would have a Sunday through Friday service hours, partly because we have some libraries open on Saturday in the region, and the thought was that Sunday would also cover kids that school kids that maybe were in sports on Saturday couldn't come in, and that Sunday might serve them. I understand that this wasn't a popular decision by some. Some actually like that decision, but we're listening to the Mercer Island community. This is not in stone. This was our way of opening as quickly as we could with some of our, we do have, it was brought up, some union requirements, some staffing requirements and scheduling requirements for our represented staff as quickly as we could, but also recognizing that we're not back to the pre-COVID 2019 7-day-a-week service. And that we're just going to have to look at the budget, because quite honestly, during this time in 2020, we were going to go to the voters for a levy lid lift that was scheduled to be in August of 2020. The board wisely pulled that levy because in major pandemic, we did not want to go to the voters then. It was not a good time. And we also did not go to the voters in November of that year because Harborview was going, the county wanted to push their levy for Harborview, and we really felt, or I felt during a pandemic, that Harborview was more important. So we made that decision not to go to the voters. So we still have the year 11 of not having the levy lid lift dollars. We're fine right now, and we've been very prudent, and we are going to increase hours again. So I want to reassure the commission, this is just a first run at this, and we're going to be looking at the data. And if Sunday doesn't work, we will shift to another day. I'm hearing from the community, they would prefer Saturday and Sunday. And if we're going to do 6-day-a-week service, if that can work, we'll look at that too. So the hours were done with the best of intentions, and we're open for flexibility, but we do need to take a regional approach of our services. We simply can't go back to the pre-COVID hours because I cannot run deficits anymore when there is no guarantee of a levy lid lift in the near future. Angie, you can go to the next slide. So we did get the question is how are we keeping Mercer Island informed? We do provide regular email updates to the mayor and the city council. Of course, we had signage and regular public updates on our website. And then I have a blog, and we also offer press releases to the Mercer Island Reporter. Next slide. And we also got the question, what is the opportunities for input? Obviously, the community does talk to local staff. You can send comments to our online comment link. I do see them. If you send them to the board, you can send board comments about how you're feeling about the library. And then we also have Angie Miraflor. She is the regional director, and you can, and also the deputy director, you can also send comments to Angie. Next slide. So I'm going to move this over to Angie, who's going to talk about the programs and services, and then we'll open it up to questions.
Thank you, Lisa. This is Angie Miraflor. So yeah, we're going to talk about some of the exciting things that I know that our staff and our community are really excited to be able to do in the near future. As Lisa already mentioned, we just started some additional hours, which includes an additional day of service, Sundays from 11 to 6 at Mercer Island. And like Lisa said, there was an expansion of hours in all of our regions all throughout the county. I know programming is a really important service that we have, and a service we haven't been able to offer just because of all these COVID restrictions that have been happening, but we're currently working on plans on how to what in-person programming will look like. We have been doing a lot of virtual and online program, but there's just something about being able to see people in person, and our staff and our community both value that. So we are making those plans and will determine if in-person programming is the right way to do things. I've actually talked to a staff person from from the region who does an adult book club, and he has one book club that wants to stay online, but he has one book club that wants to do things in person. And that's how we're going to work it, because that's the groups that are participating, that's what they want to do. This will also include youth programming for children and teens. So I know story time is something like, you know, the bread and butter of a public library. So we look forward to launching that soon, springtime. Like I said, online programs will continue, and we'll make those determinations based on what the community wants, what based on what the program is. Outreach and building partnerships is also a really important thing for the library. And we already do have a lot of strong partnerships with the Mercer Island School District. During the shutdown and limited service, Mercer Island folks really did work with the school district and the students and teachers to make sure that they still had as much access as possible to the library. So that includes providing them with e-cards, which would give them access to databases and any of our other ebooks and audio ebooks. And of course, these cards are still work now, even though we're open more, and they also, and they could still sign up for one if they don't already have one. And then the last thing I wanted to mention that's not in here, there will be a mini sale at the Mercer Island Library from March 13th to the 20th. And this is a book sale that is done by the Mercer Island Friends of the Library. So again, we really appreciate that, you know, this group comes in, does all this volunteer work, raises money for the library. We really value it, and just putting the word out there that if you want to buy a good book, come to the Mercer Island Library from the 13th to the 20th of March. And that's all I have. I can open it up to questions.
Vice Chair Struck.
Yes, thank you. First, thank you for joining us tonight. We really appreciate that. So, you know, obviously you heard from some of the community members and from some of the surveys that have been done on Nextdoor that, you know, hours are a big issue. So the question I like to look forward. So the question I have is, do you have a plan at this point that you would hope by such and such a date you would be able to expand to 7 days or to more hours or anything? Or is it just like, well, sometime in the future we'll look to do that, but we really don't have a plan?
Yeah, we have a plan. I don't have specific dates, but this was always the first run of it, the first phase of expanded hours. And we are collecting data. We're going to look at the numbers on Sunday. If the numbers are not good, we'll go back. We do have to go through a scheduling process with our staff. If we moved or add another day, we do have to go through the process. That means we have to talk to our, go to the unions first, then the staff, ask them if they can work a different day. It might mean hiring new people. So that does take some time, but yes. And Angie, do you want to add at all to the nuances of the actual scheduling process?
Sure. Yeah, it's so there's a lot of elements in the scheduling process, including, for example, our librarians aren't just librarians. They either provide adult, teen, or children's services. So we have to look at libraries, what services are the most important to them, and then schedule librarians accordingly that way. And then, you know, there's other parts, like mentioned before, about the union agreement of making sure that they have a certain amount of time whenever there is any kind of a schedule change. They need a block of time. It's several weeks, I can't remember, where they have to do that. And there's, you know, there's other things too, because we have to, again, just look at the kinds of services that every location offers, and then find the right staff and the right classification of staff to provide those services. But yeah, I mean, that's been the thing that we've been telling community and staff, is that these hours, we don't like to say these are permanent hours, because again, as the community changes and the needs of the community change, then we have to make those adjustments too.
Well, thank you for that. I guess I would just recommend or encourage the more transparency that you can provide to the community as to, what they can look forward to in the future. And with some level of specificity, I think it'll serve everybody in the best light. Thank you.
Commissioner Markson?
Thank you. This is Commissioner Sarah Markson, and I have like 3 questions, so hopefully that's okay, or you can stop me if you need to. I'm sorry if I missed this, but did you say, you mentioned the levy lid lift not happening over a period of time, and I missed if you said it was planned for sometime in the near future, because it sounds like, this is mainly a budget related problem, is how it's been described, right? So is the levy lift planned in the near future? Or I'm sorry, a vote on it?
We currently do not have plans right now because we really need to get back to a sense of normalcy. But prior to the pandemic, we were going to go to the voters for the levy lid lift. It was, I think, year 11, and we were collecting at that point, I think 35 cents of the 50 cents assessed value. We're now at 29 cents of the 50 cents assessed value per 1,000. Per 1,000 of assessed value. So we are under collecting what the voters initially voted for back in 2011. But that it is what it is. Timing is everything. And so we want to make sure if we go before the voters, we have a good chance of it passing. So we're being strategic. And to be strategic, we need to be careful with our current dollars so that we continue to provide service until we get to the point where we decide to go to the voters. So we're exploring right now.
Okay, so, okay. And you mentioned that you have other libraries in the region that are open on Saturdays. Where would those be?
I believe Newport Way, but Angie, you can, it's Newport Way is the closest one.
I'm looking it up right now. I just want to confirm. I don't want to make a mistake, so I'm going to look it up.
Okay, and that's, you could also always just send it out.
Bellevue is open, is on a Monday through Saturday schedule.
Bellevue and Newport?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and are all the libraries on a 6-day schedule?
No,
or
actually,
just some libraries.
Some are on 5 and some are on 6. Mercer Island is on one of the ones that is have some more robust schedule, was the 6-day-a-week schedule.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Westberg.
This is Commissioner Westberg. Thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation, and thank you for supporting Mercer Island with, to the best of your ability to this point, given the budget constraints, which I certainly understand. Commissioner Struck actually asked the question that I was going to ask, so I'm going to just throw in more of a comment, and that is that I think a lot of us that were heavy users of the library pre-pandemic, we obviously, I'm sure across your system, adjusted our habits to be able to access library materials and programs remotely because that's the only way we could. And since you've reopened and I've been fortunate enough to be able to go back into the library in person, traffic has seemed lighter to me than it was pre-pandemic. And so maybe people have changed their habits to the point where it's going to take a while to rebuild that in-person usage that you enjoyed before the pandemic. So I guess I would, it's kind of a tough nut because I would caution on relying too much on usage data until you've had the opportunity to rebuild program offerings to draw people back in. I really miss those Saturday programs that I could do with with my granddaughter. So I hope that at some point down the road, Saturdays can come back in the picture. I think until they do, that's going to be a hot button issue in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Reynolds.
Hey, thanks for your presentation. We had a couple of speakers during appearances time talk about the absence of a library board that we used to have. And it just makes me wonder, what does your engagement with city government look like? What's the structure in other cities around the region? Do they have library boards? What's the best practice for what works well for communication between the city and the library?
Well, first of all, it's up to the city. The city runs the library board, and we're happy to work with the library advisory boards. There, I think, are about 7, although John Scheller's on the, who's our government affairs manager, can correct me if I'm wrong. We're happy to work whatever way the city wants us to work with them. They are advisory boards, they're not governing boards, but we certainly listen to them. I mean, Bothell has one, I believe Kirkland has one. There's no best practice. I know Mercer Island did have an advisory board, and the city chose to sunset it, but we're happy to work whatever way. I have gone to city council meetings for Mercer Island when we were in person to present, and I'm happy to present to any city council if I'm asked, if there's something for me to present. Currently during COVID, we presented, I know John presented quite a bit to city councils and rotaries. I think we did present to the Mercer Island Rotary. So, and of course, the role of the regional manager, and it's currently vacant, is to actually liaison with the city. So that's the other means. That's the first connection you have is with the regional manager or the library. And then, of course, whatever the city would like us to do, we will certainly present. Like today, you asked us to present, and we're here. So,
well, thank you for being here. But I guess on important decisions to the community like ours, in those other cities, did you communicate with the boards or the councils in those other cities, or have other sort of public engagement process to decide whether it's Saturday or Sunday or some other day that's open or closed?
No, we didn't. What we did was we looked at data, and of course, the staff-led team looked at a regional approach, as I mentioned before. So within the region, making sure that there was library coverage 7 days a week. So you didn't have to drive too far to get to a library. Currently, libraries are simply closed on Saturday or on Sunday and Monday across the entire King County Library District. And that's not a good thing. We want to make sure library service is available every day if you want to go into a library. So we tried to rectify that. And remember, these decisions were made in August of 2021. Lots have changed. You know, we had Delta back then, and then we have Omicron. So, you know, I mean, I apologize, we can't be too nimble, but it's important for you to understand the constraints that we had, just like you have in the city of Mercer Island with your city services. And, you know, none of us wanted this. None of us like this. And I often say it took me 2 days to shut down a library system. It's taken me 2 years to bring it back up again, but we're gonna get it back up. But the other thing that I think is important to share, council member, is that we also looked at an opportunity. We wouldn't be doing our due diligence if we didn't look at some of the inefficiencies that we had in scheduling prior to COVID. And so, for instance, none of our libraries are open past 8 o'clock anymore because nobody would come in. After 8 o'clock, we found that people just didn't use their libraries. So we used this as an opportunity to shift hours so that they were more better used. So the staff were there, the public wanted to come, and it was a better use of staff time. So again, that's how we decided. And I understand the Saturday is a concern. And again, it was done with the best of intentions, but we will certainly look at it. And we are fine pivoting to a different day. That is not a problem for us.
And do you have data that's publicly shareable on what usage by day of the week has been historically for our library?
I believe we can go back and look at hourly counts if there's a request for that.
I would like to see it. Okay, I'll yield the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Cohen.
Yes, thank you, Don Cohen. To the extent that Council Member Reynolds might want to consider this separate library board issue further with council, my recollection, which may be wrong, was that the library board was eliminated along with with a bunch of other boards, in part because some people felt there were just too many to manage and there was a consolidation process. There might have been a specific issue with the library at that time also, I don't remember, but I know that there were a number of other ones. So part of it was just, I don't mean just, part of it was administrative efficiency, and it may be worth taking a look at that issue again. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions or comments? Commissioner, Vice Chair Struck.
Yes, thank you again. Just to follow up a little bit with what Councilmember Reynolds talked about in terms of kind of community engagement. As I looked at your slide there on community engagement, it looked like it was mostly, it was incumbent upon the patron to kind of write a comment and so forth like that. And again, we're all really busy, and unless somebody is, really likes something or is really upset with something, generally, people don't write those kind of comments. I guess the suggestion I would have is if you would, kind of reach out in terms of, online surveys to your, you have the emails, I suspect, of all of your patrons or most of them, and, regularly survey them about issues. I think a very simple one on this whole hours issue, or Saturday versus Sunday, you could have sent an email survey to, every Mercer Island address that you have an email for and say, what do you think? Very simple. So anyway, I encourage you to, engage kind of more rather than trying to pull in comments, is to push things out to the community. Thank you.
Councilmember Reynolds, do you have any more comments or? Okay. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing your information and hearing our concerns. I also feel like having Saturday and Sunday together is a great thing, and hope that you guys look at adjusting that soon.
Well, thank you. Again, we really do want to get back to normal. And we'll see, we're hoping that we're never going to have to shut down as we did before, but if we have to, we have plans now, we're prepared. And I know there's been some concern on the part of some of the community, and it was honestly never our intention to make people unhappy. We're just trying to do the best we can, and we truly enjoy serving all of our 50 libraries. But because we have 50, there's a complexity there. There's a balance we have to do between all of our library systems. We provide equitable service, full service for all, no matter where you live. And Mercer Island is just as important as Kent, is just as important as Black Diamond. So we do appreciate the support of the Mercer Island community, and we appreciate their involvement. Even when they're not happy with us, we need to hear from them, and we do hear from them. So I want to thank the chair and Ryan for inviting us, and anytime you want us to come back, we will come back. So thank you again.
Perfect. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to move on to our third item of regular business, and it is the endorsement of the special events sponsorship policy and other special events recommendations. And we will welcome Katie Herzog, Recreation Coordinator, Special Events and Community Partnerships, and consultant Emily Moon. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for that introduction. I am Katie Herzog, Recreation Coordinator. I will share my screen and we'll get ready. Are we good?
Nothing shared yet.
Oh no. Okay, here we go.
Now we can see it.
Okay. So I'm here tonight to present on the public special event sponsorship policy and special events recommendations. Just a reminder of the previous engagement and development process that has brought us to tonight. On January 6th, the commission acknowledged that special events are an important part of the community. We reviewed policy considerations and the SWOT analysis. Commission provided input towards supporting third-party special events through fee reductions. And then on February 3rd, we came back and reviewed and discussed the sponsorship policy elements. The commission reviewed and provided feedback on sponsorship program design, including fee waivers, and provided staff with consensus input for development of a final policy. So tonight we have made our presentation in two parts. The first part is we will review those policy elements. If desired, we will be asking for an endorsement of the special event sponsorship policy and recommend to City Council its approval. And our part two, staff special events recommendations, and if again desired, endorse those recommendations to share with City Council. So discussions throughout this process was the need to support community special events. This policy helps the city have a fair process of support towards community partners offering events while supplementing those coordinated by the city. During the commission's February 3rd meeting, the commission shared support and consensus on the policy elements shown here. I will read a few. So the policy elements include providing a fee waivers or reductions for public events by nonprofit agencies serving Mercer Island residents. Those requests must be made concurrent with application deadlines. Some applicants or events would not be eligible for sponsorship based on the type of event. Events may be used as fundraisers, may have a registration or participation fee. Each entity may only receive sponsorship 2 times per year. And of course, a contract will be required between the city and the sponsored entity. So the fee reductions are shown here. These reductions are given on the event fees, not any other incurred costs. These fee reductions still allow us to meet our cost recovery goals while still supporting community events. On the special events fee schedule that was in the packet and that we will post online, the level of events are listed with the guidelines and kind of definitions of what each level is. And just each increased level really equals the impact that the event will have on each location or staffing and just kind of the overall event impact. So part one is done. We will of course take any questions, but on the screen you will see the recommended motion. And like I said, we can take any questions.
Thank you. Okay, so does anybody have any questions before we before I make a motion to approve the special event sponsorship policy? Vice Chair Stark?
Katie, do you want to stop sharing for a second?
Yes.
Thanks.
Vice Chair Struck?
Yes. I'm just trying to look, yeah. So I thought that, and I'm hopefully this is the right spot, but I thought that in terms of procedure, we've got, it says city staff designated by division manager will review the application, et cetera. And then it says all other procedures will be established and provided administratively by the department director and division manager. What I would like to suggest is that there would also be a reporting requirement so that for each calendar year that the staff would come back to the PRC and perhaps the council as well and just give a quick recap of how this policy went in terms of how many events were sponsored, what was the community benefit that was perceived or was gained, it's so forth. I gave Ryan some language on this, I think yesterday, so I would like to add that to the policy.
This is Ryan. If I might jump in for a quick second, my recommendation would be to not include, staff's recommendation would not be to include that within the policy, but to include that within reporting guidelines throughout the annual reporting process for all policies and division operations. So just sharing that with the commission.
And that's fine. Yeah, I'm not going to get hung up on the exact placement, but I think it's important that there be a feedback loop for the commission and then ultimately the council to understand, is this policy working or not? Thank you.
Fully support that as well. I just realized Chair McCarthy is not on the screen anymore.
Anarchy.
So Vice Chair Struck, you're taking over for a little bit. Thanks for jumping in. She's actually calling me right now.
So Commissioner
we have another hand.
Commissioner Burstein has a question, Peter.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Thank you. I also was going to ask for a reporting function, but I just want to also confirm, based on our discussion last month, that we're only talking about 8 to 10 events anticipated per year.
Yeah, those numbers were, kind of our pre-pandemic numbers.
Right.
And I should also say, in 2021, we also had a handful, I think 6, if I'm remembering correctly, that we did permit. So the number range is, about 6 to 10 from our past years.
Yeah, and so with that, I think within the reporting, not only those that are funded, but those that are rejected, just so we can keep track of how many requests are coming in, and if we're being inundated and having to turn away more people than anticipated.
Yes, my hope is that our reporting will also include, how many private events that we permit each year and how many, those public events that don't get sponsorship either by not applying or being rejected, but kind of the whole picture of the full public and private events that happen.
Perfect. Thank you.
So Ryan, did you get any update from Jody?
She got kicked out. I don't know how, I don't know why, but staff's working on getting her back on. So it's still your show.
Okay.
Vice Chair Struck.
All right, so Katie, help me out here. I think we're at the point where we wanted to entertain a motion to, I think the word we were using is endorse the special events sponsorship policy and recommend to City Council its approval.
That is correct.
It looks like Commissioner Westberg has a hand up.
Yeah, I just saw that.
Well, I so move.
Okay.
That we endorse the special event sponsorship policy and recommend its approval by the City Council.
Okay, is there a second?
Yeah, my hand up. I second it. This is Commissioner.
Oh, okay, thank you, Commissioner Burstein seconds. So I believe we can call the roll.
Okay, I am trying to get Chair McCarthy back on.
Okay.
But I will go ahead and
sharing for a second. Thanks.
Sorry.
That's okay. Thanks.
Okay, so back on yet? No. Okay, so I will call the roll. Chair McCarthy, Vice Chair Struck.
Aye.
Commissioner Cohen.
Aye.
Commissioner Birkenwald.
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Westberg.
Aye.
Commissioner Markson,
Aye.
Commissioner Burstein,
Aye.
Okay, it looks like that has been passed. Now, Katie, is there a second?
There is. So our part 2. So in addition to the confirmation of the policy elements on February 3rd, the commission discussed additional special event recommendations. Staff would like to carry forward the Parks and Recreation Commission's support of the following recommendations to City Council. Continue to encourage neighborhood block parties by limiting permitting requirements. We would waive any application, special event, and/or right-of-way fees, which is our current practice. We would limit 2 per neighborhood and 2 per road a year. The support in this of the commission and then to City Council would help staff to develop a simple form to better accommodate those block party requests. Establish a First Amendment or free speech event notification form and related practices. While the city cannot require that a permit be applied for and issued, we can request that organizers of planned events provide the city with notice of the event. This process would allow the city and those organizers to be better prepared with increased communication and hopefully a direct point of contact for planning purposes. Our third item is create 3 categories of special events apart from the neighborhood block parties and First Amendment events. This helps us label and create understanding of how events are categorized and to what level of support they may receive. Those categories would be city organized and run public events, those public special events for which the city provides sponsorship via the sponsorship program, and all other special events, whether public or private. So you've already endorsed the sponsorship program, but this would be the second part to recognize the finite number of city-run events as delineated in the budget each year. Gaining the formal approval of the sponsorship program demonstrates the city's adherence to the state's regulations for the gift of public funds and helps to ensure that policymakers and permit administrators have knowledge of rules and practices that will govern the city's approach to special events. So an example, summer celebration and mostly music in the park, they are budgeted city events. If someone wants to ask for our support to run their event, we now have a path forward for those events that are not provided by the city, but do still receive support. And those are the 4 staff recommendations. We can take questions and then have another recommended motion. And I will remember to stop sharing.
Are there any questions from the commission? Commissioner Cohen.
Yeah, this is Don Cohen. I'm a little uncomfortable on this motion with using the term endorse, and in part because there's a bunch of sort of purely legal kind of things in here, like the free speech requirement and some other things. So I would feel more comfortable with using concurs with rather than endorses when we're talking about the recommendations. I was okay with endorse in the policy itself.
Thank you, Commissioner Cohen. Commissioner Westberg.
Thank you, Peter. In the interest of specificity, and maybe this would address Commissioner Cohen's concerns, I think rather than saying generally endorse staff's recommendations, I think we should enumerate the 4 specific recommendations in our motion. And that way we're endorsing something very specific, not the overall, not the analysis, the staff analysis and the legalese as well.
This is Don Cohen. Katie, could you share your quick list of the 4 again? I had to step away for 1 second. I think that
Yes.
Katie, it might be helpful to show that the alternative motions that we have as well.
Okay. Well, let me stop sharing for a second and pull that up.
I do want to thank the commission. We received some good input early to be able to provide these alternatives for you to review. So Katie's going to pull those up on the screen here real quick.
Okay, so these could be alternative motions of what Don and Roy are talking about. Let's see here. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, oops, sorry, this is Don Cohen. Commissioner Westberg's suggestion doesn't quite get there because of the second bullet, doesn't quite get there for me. Because maybe it's because I'm a lawyer, but I don't like endorsing things. No offense to staff, I'm sure they've gotten legal opinions on these things and everything, but I'd prefer concurs with or supports or something like that rather than endorse, at least because of the second bullet.
So Commissioner Collins, so are you kind of say you would prefer the first alternative and maybe move to concur to support as opposed to move, but to eliminate the 4 bullets, which is in the second?
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't know that we went to the alternative one here. So I see. I apologize. I'm okay with number 2, which would be consistent with Commissioner Westberg's suggestion, I assume. I didn't see the support word there.
Okay, Commissioner Marks.
This is not related to the conversation about what sort of motion to take, but I just had a clarifying question. I know I put in an email related to the neighborhood designation. And Katie, I know you responded to my question saying, well, we don't designate neighborhoods. But then I was like, well, it says in the staff recommendation that there's 2 for neighborhoods. So I was just curious how is that applied if Mercer Island doesn't define neighborhoods?
Yeah, Emily had a really kind of good, I don't know if you want to jump in, Emily, but it's more like as a city, we don't, have a grid system or specific neighborhood definitions, and creating that, hopefully simple neighborhood block party form would allow us to then look and see what the request is of, does it make sense that someone's asking to have a block party in their neighborhood or on a specific road that would perhaps need to be closed down for a specific amount of time. So that's my understanding of why we don't have really definitions of neighborhoods. Just we would wait to see what the request was versus this neighborhood can't do it and these roads can or cannot.
I would.
Ryan, do you have anything to add?
I was just going to add that, and actually it was a question to Katie. Katie, how many neighborhood block parties have we been offering in the past?
Yeah, so I have asked our CPD and police kind of how many we've gotten, of course, pre-pandemic, and it's an average of like 1 to 2 a year, if that. So there's not a lot of requests that come in, and not a lot of, staff time, obviously, that's going towards this, but we certainly still want to encourage them, and, maybe a simple form moving forward would, make more people want to have block parties, but it's not a whole lot that do happen on the island in the past.
Thank you for that.
Okay, thanks.
Does that, this is Don Cohn.
Yeah,
Does that comment, Katie, include the neighborhood night out type of things when we were having those?
It does not. The specific national night out, my understanding is that it was a city partnered event or sponsored event. And so that was the one night out of the year that the city put on versus just a neighborhood block party having their own type of event.
Thank you.
Mr. Daly, you still have a comment?
Oh, Vice Chair Struck, my comment was actually toward you, this on adding a 5th bullet point, as you mentioned earlier, on the reporting functions. This would be a very appropriate place, I feel like, to include that. So I just wanted to share that with you if you were so inclined.
Oh, okay.
As a documentation process, good opportunity for us.
All right. Commissioner Westberg?
I'm doing this on an iPad and I'm having trouble finding the controls. With Ryan's comment, Ryan, so I assume you are saying add a reporting bullet to the language of the second alternative motion?
That's correct.
That a reporting requirement be built in. If that meets your requirements, Peter, then I would move that we adopt motion number 2, move to support the following staff recommendations concerning special events and to share these recommendations with City Council. And the motion would include the 4 bullet points there and a 5th bullet point to add a requirement or a commitment to report back to the Commission and Council on the results of implementing these actions. So I made the motion.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Jody McCarthy.
Chair McCarthy. All right, thank you. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, since the chair is back, do you want to call for the roll?
I will, thank you. I don't know what happened. I got kicked off. Yes, there's been a motion by Commissioner Westberg and is seconded by me, Chair McCarthy. Commissioners, please turn on your microphones, and will the city staff please conduct a roll call?
Chair McCarthy?
Aye.
Vice Chair Struck?
Aye.
Commissioner Cohen?
Aye.
Commissioner Birkenwald?
Aye. Aye.
Commissioner Westberg?
Aye.
Commissioner Markson?
Aye.
Commissioner Burstein?
Aye.
All right, so the motion has passed.
Great, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, and since I missed it, so we passed the first motion as well, correct? Okay, perfect. Okay, the fourth item of business is the 2022 planning and meeting schedule, and we're going to welcome back Ryan Daly.
Right. Thank you, Chair McCarthy, and welcome back to you as well. I'm going to share my screen real quick. I just want to share a couple of updates. Actually, within the time that we sent out the packet, other staff got in there and added a couple elements for review. So let me know if you can see this spreadsheet.
We can see it.
All right. So we're in the March meeting, obviously. April, you'll notice a new item, 2 new items actually here. The first reading for the Aubrey Davis Trail safety improvements, the 30% design. Paul West will be attending and providing that information to the Parks and Rec Commission. And then also we've held a tentative date for a bike skills area update. And so we're going to hold on to that meeting at this point. And more information will come out throughout this month as we move toward the April meeting. As you can see, also in the May meeting, we have the athletic field use and allocation policy discussion. We were planning to do that in April, but we'd like to get those spring sports a little bit more off and running before we jump into that conversation. I think that'll help us to engage more of the community members who are utilizing or who would be utilizing that policy. So I just wanted to provide that update here briefly so that the commission can know what to expect. And I promise not to overload the meetings as we keep going forward, but we will have a number of items coming forward in September, October, and closing out the year. So be on your toes. I'll keep you up to date and let you know as we go forward. So thank you, Chair McCarthy. If I start share, there we go.
Thank you, Ryan. The fifth item of business is commissioner reports and work plan updates. Commissioners, do you have anything to report? I don't see any hands up. So I think we will go on. Hopefully today is the start of a extremely dry period for us. We certainly could use it as an island. Holy, my front yard is saturated. I can't imagine what these grass sports fields look like right now. I'm sure that the parks guys, maintenance guys are crying.
Chair, that's a great point. We actually had to close the fields on Monday, which isn't something we normally do for those grass fields because we had so much water on them. So it was a slow start to our spring season, which began on Monday, but we're off and running now.
Yeah, great. All right, so the next regular Parks and Recreation Commission meeting is April 7th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. The time now is 7:12 and the meeting is adjourned. However, as a reminder to commissioners, please stay seated until the city staff has terminated the Zoom broadcast. Good evening and stay safe and healthy, everyone.